Today I'm as excited as I've ever been to do a review on my channel. Edifier sent me a speaker that in my opinion looks to be a superior option for home office or even for parties. It's the Edifier D12. It's a Bluetooth speaker. It's got tons of input options and it has a line out or subwoofer output. This speaker is retailing for about $129 and today's review is about finding out about its features, a full-blown sound sample, get your headphones ready because it's going to be good, how loud it gets, instrumented test, and what happens to the D12 sound when we add a subwoofer. Get ready and let's get started. I mean, first of all, it's got versatile connectivity, right? It's got line in, auxiliary in, it's got Bluetooth 5.0, it's got what Edifier calls studio-like sound quality, which to me may mean that it's a little bit more of a balanced sound than a super heavy bass sound. It's got 70 total watts of RMS power coming through two 4-inch woofers, which are going to have 20 watts each. And then it doesn't say it on here, but it's got two 19mm silk dome tweeters with 15 watts of sound each. And that's going to produce 20 plus 20 plus 15 plus 15 is 70 total watts of power. Its frequency response, which is also not stated here, but it is stated on the manual, is 54 Hertz to 20,000 Hertz. And I really appreciate getting that information from Edifier because when we add a sub to this unit through that line out, we got a solid starting position for where we should set the sub's crossover frequency. And I'll show you that later in the video. What else do we have here? We got a beautiful wooden enclosure. According to Edifier, that minimizes acoustic resonance and it outputs a rich, warm sound. Now let's flip it on its side. We've got a little bit more information here. We want to check it out. Here we have it mentioned that line out port. It's not mentioned on the front of the packet, on the top of the package, but it is mentioned here on the side. So if we want to add that subwoofer or a pair of active speakers, we can do that right out of the box. There's also theater and music switching mode, so we'll see what that changes about the sound quality later in the video. And you got super easy controls. There's 3 top-mounted knobs that are designed for adjusting the treble, the bass, and the volume and switching between the inputs. So that's a nice feature to make it so that you don't have to use the remote. But you do get that wireless remote control. You have easy control of it from a distance. It says here that we also have a front-facing reflex port that's going to give us, I mean, in my opinion, it gives you greater depth and a lot more bass response. And Edifier is giving you a 2-year warranty in the US and Canada. I'm going to have to do this video in bits and pieces because I'm going to do a quick unbox here. And I am also going to then shut down the video and go do some setups and testing of the sound. And you are going to get to see it all right here on SoZen's Gadgets. Now for the boring stuff. Okay, we got a substantial user manual here. Well, it's in multiple languages, so it's actually not that many pages. We got safety instructions, we got instructions, we definitely have an included 3.5mm to RCA cable. That is going to be perfect for our subwoofer connection that we're going to use. We've got a remote control. Excellent. I love that they're giving me some of these cables that I'm absolutely going to need. I'm going to need to go from that line out. With this cable, I'm going to go from their line out on the back of the unit to the RCA inputs on the back of my sub. Here's that RCA cable so you can go out from, let's say, a receiver or some kind of maybe a record player or CD player if you want to go into the speaker directly. Well, that's pretty cool as well, even though that's not an HDMI cable. This really isn't meant to be a center channel speaker. It's more meant for mute, and they do say for movies, but they don't give you that HDMI input or an optical input. So that, I guess that would be a couple of things Edifier could do better. Might cost us a little bit extra. And here's that remote control. This is a high gloss finish. Man, this thing is like packaged. How the heck did they package this thing? Okay, I just undid the battery. Oh, that is high gloss finish right there. But you have controls for music, movie mode, auxiliary input, line input, Bluetooth input, mute, and play, next, volume up, volume down, play, pause, and power. I mean, that's going to be useful at some point in time. All right, now for the fun stuff. How to get this out of here without destroying everything. Excellent. It's pretty heavy. I can tell you right away that this is not a light unit. I mean, I've got some other portable. This is way bigger than a lot of other Bluetooth speakers that are on the market claiming to have 90 plus decibels of sound that they can pump out. This thing is gonna rock, I can tell you right now, because it takes space, it takes volume, it takes heft to produce sound that's gonna be loud and that it's gonna be full and rich. You just can't do it without actually having some volume. So a speaker device or any kind of a device that's claiming to have super duper bass that has 2-inch woofers or 3-inch woofers can't keep up with a 4-inch, dual 4-inch woofer device like the D12. Now 4 inches is not huge for a woofer by any stretch of the imagination and history around, you know, speaker design. And I gotta be careful here, but I gotta take this off. So one thing that I am noticing right here on the D12 is that there's no battery in here, so you always have to have it plugged in. That is just something you need to keep in mind, but there's no power pack on it or anything. It's just a straight cable that you need to connect to a power outlet. And we did see on the box that it's flexible power between 100 and 240 volts. Here you got that volume control. Ah, man, this is probably upside down. Let's spin this around. You got your bass response, and that swivels between -6 and +6. It's got a clear demarcation in how it scrolls, so you can feel 0 without actually having to look at it, and it definitely stops. Now the volume and the input, this is a constantly scrolling wheel, which I guess makes sense because it's also got a remote control, so it's really just a toggle up and down. And then it's got, you can actually hear it clicking when you want to switch those inputs. Let's check out the back. On the back of this device, you got your line out, which of course is what we're going to use when we connect this. So that's a 3.5 millimeter line out. You've got an auxiliary in and you've got your RCA in. So they're color coded left and right, which has been the same since, 1970 or whatever. 100 to 240 volts, power on, power off, although you can turn it on just with the remote control, and there's some instructions in the manual around what to do if you've got the power on, but you've turned it off via the remote, how you get it, turn it back on and whatnot. But I do believe that you can use this entirely without the remote if you wanted to, and you can use it with the remote if you want to. That is pretty flexible. You got some graining here on the top black plastic surface. It looks pretty nice. The wood paneling actually looks and feels like wood, and the thing is pretty substantial. I'm going to say it again. 4 rubber feet on the bottom to prevent it from vibrating when it's booming. And this grill with the very subtle Edifier logo, it is removable, I assume. Yeah. And there we have it. We have a look at the 2 4-inch woofers and the silk dome tweeters. You've got your light indicator for how this is connected. I mean, it's a pretty big speaker. It is pretty packed in here. The tweeters smartly are as far away as possible. Those are the ones that are going to give you your mids and highs. And for the most part, that's where you're going to get your stereo separation. And these are your bass reflex ports. So you could hear some chuffing out of those things when this thing really gets pumping. Well, I like it. I mean, it's a pretty big speaker. It's hefty, but it has a refined look to it, right? Its face is definitely nice. It's tidy looking. That little light, it's going to be nice and clear. And how that light works is if it's green and it's steadily lit, it's your auxiliary or line in. If it's blue and flashing rapidly, your Bluetooth is unconnected. If it's a blue light and it's steadily lit, it's your Bluetooth is connected, and that is your input source. All right, from here, let's get ready to set it up and check out that sound quality. This is called Fast and Run by Nico Staff. Let's check out how those, oh yeah. Look at those woofers woofing. I like it. Now, how can we tell how loud this is? can't complain about the volume level of the D12. I don't even know if we hit max. That thing was incredibly loud. I'd say we've reached the max right there. So by my old school sound meter, that's over 110 decibels, and I'm going to tell you from sitting right here next to it, that is incredibly loud, and you can see how much air is coming out of those ports, how much bass is pumping out of this thing. All right, the next thing we got to do is connect this to a sub and see how that changes things for us. That's going to take me a few minutes to get set up for. Stick around and I'm going to get right to it. All right, so this is how this sub will work. I mean, it has high level inputs, so you can use speaker level inputs. That's not really what's important here. What's important is I got a line level or a low level input, and I have messed this sub up, so I have actually broken off a connector in there. Not important for the video, but just because I'm only going to be connecting the right channel to it. And then I have my subwoofer crossover frequency, my rollover frequency, and my level. And I've got the video and audio set up. I'm going to put it in audio mode. So it has a 0 decibel, like this is a 6 decibel boost on the sub. I don't need that. I've already got, you know, much more subwoofer power coming from this. And I see here I've got it set at about 90 because my home theater setup, that's where I want it to be. My minimum is 50 down here. So according to Edifier, that's going to hit about 55 hertz. So I'm going to let this roll off at just about, let's say 50, 90, halfway point is what? 75, 70, thereabouts, 70. So if I put it in here, it's going to be about 60, and it is a roll off, right? So it is a roll off, so I'm going to let it cover some of the same frequencies as the Edifier. All right, let's play some music here. Low level in. And I don't know if you can hear that. But check this out. If you want to see that sub pounding, in addition to the D12, you now have yourself a massive bass experience right here. Let's check that volume. My subwoofer base level is actually too high. And if I let the sub produce more of those low frequencies, I'm also going to get an incredible amount of bass out of this system. And now you've got a house. Oh, okay, I'm actually getting some clipping on the sub itself, which is pretty impressive, meaning this thing can produce enough volume that even the sub is failing out. It was 150 watts per channel. Woo! That thing will give you a haircut. Well, there you have it. This Edifier D12 is flexible. It sounds great out of the box. It looks cool, and you can connect it to an external sub, giving you all kinds of creative capabilities. I can't talk to you enough about how cool I think this product is. This is an easy recommendation. You want to have a party, you want to have friends over, you want to just bust out on your own and jam like without headphones because you're all alone in the house and you want to rock the neighbors and like let them know you're around, the Edifier D12 is a rock solid speaker that I highly recommend for anybody who's a music lover. Like, this thing looks cool. It looks sophisticated. You can put it in your office. You could put it in, even if you're like in the corner office, it'll look good. And I'm telling you, the sound quality on this is awesome. So there you have it. My review and my recommendation for the Edifier D12 Bluetooth speaker. Enjoy, folks, enjoy. Oh my God, I gave myself a headache.